Hello everyone, this is Major Green, also known as Nitpicking Nerd, and as some of you know, I had to restart my channel a few months ago. I had to start from scratch and to re-upload a lot of my older videos, and I actually misplaced a lot of them. I actually lost a few of them, I didn't keep them, and so I will have to re-record a few, and also a few of them I forgot to re-upload. And so today I'm going to re-upload a review I made over a year ago comparing the trailers of the Orville versus the trailer of Star Trek Discovery. So this was actually before I watched either of those shows. I was basing my reviews purely on the trailers I saw, and I said how much I like the Orville trailer a lot better than the Discovery trailer. And I also made a lot of predictions about the show, and a lot of them came true. And I said what I want them to do with Star Trek, what I would do. And actually this ties with some recent news of stuff they are going to do in the near future, which makes me happy. I'm going to make a whole separate video on that. And my prediction in that video was so spot on. So I'm going now to show you that original video with no changes. This is exactly as it was when I uploaded it a year ago, over a year ago. So it's funny to see now how many of my predictions came true or not. And also I will include a parody I made of that trailer. So I hope you enjoy this, and let me know in the comments later what you thought about this review. So let's begin.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that? What is it?
They are Klingons.
Those are Klingons?
Oh no, there is a xenomorph.
Get away from her, you bitch!
How did I come to this? I was an actor once. Damn it, now look at me. Look at me! I won't say that stupid line one more time.
But I can feel a change in the wind right now. Nothing's in my way. We are the robots. We are the robots.
There were some times when the visual effects people would add flares to shots because I'd worked with them before and they knew that I used to like it. And I was like, no flares. And then they got obsessed. They had to replace that fetish with something else. So they started doing contrails. Like in every shot, they had contrails on the ships. And I was like, did you fucking move the flare people over the contrail department?
You think you'll just get away with that?
Hello everyone. I basically used that to kind of express my own thoughts about the trailer, but I also want to actually say what I actually think. First of all, just a few days before I saw this trailer, I actually saw the trailer for that new TV show, The Orville, which is a parody spoof of Star Trek. And when I saw that, I was thinking this is kind of like the movie Galaxy Quest, which I really enjoyed, which was a parody movie of Star Trek, and this TV show looks pretty much like a Galaxy Quest, but most of the jokes in the trailer were not that funny. I mean, there wasn't anything particularly funny, but it kind of looked cool and it looked interesting, and the special effects looked pretty good. But I remember thinking, I want an actual Star Trek series, which probably would look much better and so on. And then just a few days later, I saw Star Trek Discovery trailer, and oh boy, I was shocked by how bad it actually looked. I mean, visually, just the CGI, all that stuff, and I'm not against CGI that much, but the problem in this trailer, and by the way, that's the same problem I think the Star Wars prequels had, that the CGI looks too clean, it looks fake, and it almost looks like a fan movie in many shots, even shots of the crew and the aliens and all that stuff, it just looks bad. And of course all the lens flares, which everybody hates. I don't know why they do it again when they know that all the fans hated that. This is something that J.J. Abrams did in the new Star Trek movies, and he way overdid it. I wouldn't mind that so much if it was a little bit, but it's just everywhere in these movies and it gets annoying. And you know, if you want to make the future bright, just do what TNG did. Just light the sets, make it all bright in the actual sets, make it colorful. Just like in that trailer of the Orville, which looked much better, it looked more like TNG. Everything is bright, all the sets are well lit, the uniforms are colorful, so that's how it should look. So that trailer actually looks more like Star Trek than this Star Trek Discovery, which looks too dark and with lens flares everywhere. And also the camera flies around in the corridors following someone, just like in the JJ movies. which I think sometimes can work if it's part of the action. Then it makes you feel part of the action. That's okay. But if it's just a regular shot of someone walking in the corridor and you make the camera fly in weird angles behind him, I don't think that's very enjoyable. By the way, that's something that Stargate Universe also messed up. That's one of the reasons I dislike that show, the visual style of it. They tried, I guess, to make it look gritty and realistic, but it just ended up being annoying. You don't need all these strange shots. So it's okay if it's once in a while and if it's part of the action, it might work. But if you do it all the time, just like as a gimmick, it kind of just makes it annoying. It ruins the experience. I want to sit back and relax to watch a well-lit show without any trickery of the camera, without the camera flying around in the corridor for no reason. What's the point? It just makes it annoying. And the same with the lens flares. It doesn't make it more interesting in any way, it's just annoying. And I think that's why most people disliked it. And by the way, JJ himself apologized for it. He said it was a mistake, I overdid it. So why the hell are they doing it again in this TV show? So I guess they think the JJ movies were successful and therefore they want to copy everything from those movies, do it the same style. But that is not the reason it was successful. The lens flares were not what made those movies successful. And most people hated that, so it shows me they don't actually listen to the fans. Now, another problem with this TV show is that most fans, I think, want to get back to the post-Voyager time frame. They don't want another prequel. People hate prequels. I don't know what's about this prequel obsession recently with all movies. All movie franchises are doing prequels. I mean, it started with Star Wars and then everybody started doing that. I mean, prequels in general are less interesting. The storytelling is limited, so there's less tension, so there are no real big stakes. You know what made the Dominion War exciting in Deep Space Nine? Why was it so exciting? Because you could actually feel the Federation is in danger. So it actually makes you feel tension. You are invested in this war, you want your good guys to win, so that's why I think prequels are just bad in general. They will never be as interesting as going into the future. So I don't think fans want prequels. Most fans want to see the post-Voyager era. So why don't they do it? And if they set it in the future, they might actually get some of the old actors to make cameos in it. Like imagine Patrick Stewart appearing as Ambassador Picard, or maybe even as President Picard. How cool would that be? And these actors are not getting any younger. I mean, it might be the last chance to do it. And so if they don't do it soon, then we will never see them again. We will never see Picard again, because Patrick Stewart, God bless him, but his age is starting to show. So he might not even be here by the time the next TV show airs. Why not exploit the fact that they are all still alive? They could make cameos which would make the fans happy. Why not? They can always make another prequel later if they really want to. So what's the rush to make all these prequels? Why not first go to the future, exploit some of the same actors for more cameos? Also, many fans are curious to know what happened next. What happened with the Federation after the Dominion War? What happened with the Voyager crew? And I know why they don't want to do it. They hope to appeal to a broader audience. And so they don't want people to think that they have to watch all the previous shows to get this show. And so they deliberately don't want all these cameos, they don't want to tie into the other shows. And that was one of the reasons they made these new movies with Captain Kirk and all of that. Because they know that most people know who Captain Kirk is. They know who Spock is because it's part of pop culture. But not everybody knows who Janeway is, or Seven of Nine, or Captain Sisko, or even Picard. Like, less people know it. But Captain Kirk, everybody knows who he is. So they capitalized on that just to get more money, more success. But this show won't have that either. So what's the point? Why not set it in the future? I mean, they can set it even farther away in the future, in the 25th century or even later. It would also make it more logical in terms of the technology now looking so much better. By setting this TV show before the original, it makes it look ridiculous, like why the technology looks so much better now, but a few years later it will suddenly look much more primitive. So it doesn't really mesh up. So why not just skip into the future? I really don't get their logic. I mean, if they set it in the Prime Universe, they have to worry about continuity anyway. This whole trailer looks like it's set in the JJ reboot universe. The whole look and feel of it looks just like the JJ universe, all the lens flares, the camera flying around, and of course the Klingons, which is one of the biggest problems in this trailer. They did this in one of the JJ movies. They showed a Klingon who looks nothing like the original Klingons. And you know, Enterprise worked so hard, they made special episodes just to explain the inconsistencies of why the Klingons started to look like humans for the Kirk era. and then came back to how they supposed to look in the TNG era. So Enterprise actually explained all of that in a few episodes. And then the JJ movie shit all over it and basically changed the Klingons again to something else entirely. Not looking like the TNG era Klingons or the original series Klingons. They just changed them completely to something else which doesn't look like a Klingon. But you know, that was only one Klingon, so you could say maybe that one Klingon did some kind of operation. You know, just like we humans have our tattoo freaks and kinds and stuff like that. So maybe that Klingon did something to himself, and that's why he looks like that. But yet in this show, they show us a bunch of Klingons, and they all look not only like that, they look even stranger now. They all have no hair anymore. They're all bald. They all have a much more alien kind of look. Their ears disappeared. They have no ears anymore. Their hands look like xenomorph hands with kind of double fingernail tips. Totally alien, unlike any Klingon we saw before, even stranger than Into Darkness. I mean, what the hell is this? That doesn't look like a Klingon at all. And this is set right a few years before they're supposed to look like humans, and this is after they already explained that in Enterprise. And you know, some people say that that's good, it's an alien, so they're supposed to look more alien. Yeah, but it's an established race. Why not create some kind of new race if you really want to show off your new makeup and stuff? Just do it on some new alien race. Why do you need to do it to change an existing one? And by the way, they did that with the Romulans in the JJ universe. They made them all bald and with tattoos. I guess they did that to distinguish them from the Vulcans. Because again, most moviegoers will not understand that unless you do it. So that was okay in that movie, I guess. But now they do it with the Klingons. I think it's stupid. And their costumes also look kind of ridiculous. It looks nothing like the designs of the Klingons we know. It looks like a completely different thing. So, and again, it kind of raises the suspicion that this is actually set in the JJ universe and not in the Prime one. I mean, this is set before the destruction of Vulcan, and therefore it might be in either timeline. And speaking of Vulcans, they once again make the Vulcans look like arrogant assholes and racists, and I'm really sick of that. I'm really sick to see this version of Vulcans. This was done on Enterprise with the annoying Vulcans every other episode, and I'm kind of sick and tired of it. And you know, Vulcans are supposed to be an enlightened race by now. I mean, in TNG they were always showed only in positive light. They showed them as the founding members of the Federation. They are enlightened, they are for peace, stuff like that. But then in the prequel series Enterprise, they basically showed, no, the Vulcans are racist assholes who are just assholes for no reason. And it got really annoying. I think most fans dislike that. And I think that's why in season 4 of Enterprise they had that whole story arc of the Vulcans discovering the true teachings of Surak. So I think that was supposed to kind of reboot that whole idea and to finally make the Vulcans the enlightened species they're supposed to be, like they were in TNG era. And not the racist assholes they were in the beginning of Enterprise. So I really liked that story arc, and yet in the JJ universe again they showed the Vulcans again as racist bastards, and that kind of worked in that movie. I was okay with that because maybe some Vulcans are still like that and so on, so it doesn't really demonize all of the Vulcans. And yet in this TV show again they show Vulcans again being racist against humans, again being assholes, and I'm really sick and tired of it, honestly. And in general I'm sick of Vulcans. I don't want to see Vulcans again and again and again. I'm tired of Vulcans, so I wish they would drop the whole Vulcan thing. Maybe it's a good thing JJ destroyed Vulcan. Maybe it should be set in the JJ universe so that we would have less Vulcans. So once again we have a Vulcan who appears to be some kind of asshole, racist. And it's not Star Trek. Vulcans were always part of what made the Federation great. Even in the movie First Contact, the implication was that because the Vulcans visited Earth, that would actually change humanity for the better. Maybe thanks to the Vulcans, maybe thanks to what the Vulcans taught them. I mean, it showed the Vulcans as what the Federation is going to be. Humans were still basically primitive like today, and then the Vulcans arrived, made their peace signs and all that stuff, and then humanity became more like them. So that was the spirit of Star Trek. Vulcans are an enlightened race. I mean, the problem with Vulcans is because they don't have emotions, and so they might look rude to humans, like there's a miscommunication. Because the Vulcans they say whatever they think, they never lie, and so they tell you frankly what they actually think about you, and that might make them look kind of annoying and so on. So this is what the Vulcans are supposed to be. And they don't have humor, they don't have jokes, and so they don't get jokes, and they might interpret things literally, so you tell them something is a matter of speaking, and they will not understand it, just like Data in Star Trek would not understand jokes. Data was not a dick, he was not an asshole, he just didn't understand humor, he didn't understand jokes, he didn't understand emotions, And maybe that made him seem annoying at sometimes, but it was all kind of in good fun. It made him even more lovable. It made him even more funny because he doesn't understand the jokes. Also, kind of like that guy in Guardians of the Galaxy who doesn't understand the jokes, he understands everything literally. So this is what the Vulcans, to me, are supposed to be. They're supposed to be kind of emotionless, who don't understand humor, and that would actually make them look like funny and fun because they don't get it, because they're just different. And so sometimes maybe it might cause problems with humans because they don't understand manners. So if a fat woman would ask a Vulcan, do I look fat in this dress? He would just answer honestly. And so to humans it might seem rude and the lack of manners and all that stuff. But the Vulcans are not supposed to be evil and smug and racist like they show them in the beginning of Enterprise and apparently in this show. I'm sick of tired of Vulcans like that. If this is what Vulcans are, I don't want to see them. So this is once again like in the Enterprise. Now about the look of the show. I just don't like the look. I mean, look at the walls behind them. Everything is dark, nothing is lit. The uniforms look okay, but nothing really special, nothing really creative, not colorful. And again, compare it to the trailer of the Orville. Everything looks bright. You can see all the walls. It looks like in the TNG era. That's what I want to see more of. I mean, it looks much more pleasant to the eye. I would much rather see a show like that. And yet, in this Discovery trailer, everything is dark, the camera is in weird angles, lens flares everywhere, the uniforms are all the same color. So once again, the Orville, now that I came back to look at the Orville trailer, after seeing the Discovery trailer, it looks so much better. I mean, this is a show that I would prefer to see. And also, because they have all kinds of new aliens there, it actually makes it look more interesting. And even if it won't be funny, even if the comedy won't work, I'm still more drawn to see that show because it just looks better. The ship designs are interesting and new, and the special effects look great, and the inside of the ship looks much better, and the uniforms look colorful and better. It looks like in the TNG era, and the aliens actually look good, and the actual costumes, the actual makeup looks much better in the Orville compared to in Discovery. Just look at this face in Discovery, it looks like a rubber mask. Compare it to the aliens in the Orville, they actually look much better. And the dialogue makes them sound a lot more interesting. So this chick is actually super powerful, and that guy urinates only once a year. So even if it wasn't a comedy, it would actually make it more interesting. So this show looks so much more fresh compared to Star Trek Discovery, which once again show the same old Vulcans and the Klingons, who look much different and much worse in my opinion. And so if I have to pick what to watch, I would definitely pick the Orville because it looks actually fresh, it looks better visually, it has some humor, which by the way, Star Trek should have some humor. All the best shows always had a lot of humor, so comedy should be part of the show. And this Star Trek Discovery looks totally dry and devoid of any humor, any fun, and even any sense of adventure. The Orville looks much better in my opinion. And you know, even the planets, I mean, look at this shot from Discovery. A desert planet, which looks like Tatooine in Star Wars. What exactly is supposed to be interesting in this? Once again, a desert planet. I mean, a desert is the most boring thing you can do, in my opinion. Compare that to the shots we got in the Orville, with actually interesting looking planets, with actual aliens, with futuristic cities, stuff like that. That looks so much better and more interesting than a shot of two characters walking in a desert. And as for the ship designs, again, in Discovery we see yet another Enterprise type ship, and frankly, as much as I love the Enterprise, it's beginning to get old. I mean, I would want to see more designs, and that's one of the reasons I think Star Trek should move on to the future, and that would also allow them to finally make some kind of new design, new ship designs, that would also justify new warp effects and all that stuff. It would justify all these technological advancements. And by the way, I think Star Trek should move beyond the Milky Way galaxy. I mean, we are tired of the Milky Way galaxy with all the same species, the Vulcans, the Klingons. I mean, I'm personally tired of them. Why not give them warp drive, which actually allows them to travel to other galaxies? How cool would that be, to actually see new kinds of aliens, maybe not even humanoid aliens? I always kind of dislike Star Trek for all the aliens, most of them being like humans. I always love those episodes in which they actually show you some kind of alien which looks actually alien. So by moving beyond the Milky Way, they might actually start encountering actually alien aliens and not humans in makeup. That would make it much more interesting, in my opinion. So why not do that? Also, how cool would the warp effect look if you actually saw kind of galaxies zipping by and so on. And it would make sense why the warp effect looks different now, or why the ship design looks different. So those are my thoughts about this trailer, and I hope I'm wrong. And in the end of the day, it will all depend on the actual stories. If the actual stories will be good, then the show will be good, because the story is the most important thing. So I can't really judge the story based on the trailer. I can only judge the visual style. I don't like the visual style of the show. And again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they will surprise me. Maybe they will actually make it better. And characters will be good, then the show might be good, and I hope it will be. And the writing and the dialogue and all that stuff. So that's the most important thing. And so in the end of the day, that will determine if the show will be a success or not. So I hope it will be. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So that's it for now, and I will see you guys next time.